how about building an entire product? I mean, both Android client and a backend. My name is Jove, and this is Test-Driven Development Screencast. So over the course of the past few months, I recorded screencasts where I'm demonstrating both London and Chicago School of Test-Driven Development. Now I feel it's about time to see how that's gonna work into a real life product that we can get in our hands and use it and see how that's gonna work. So the idea is that we are gonna have some collaborative way of building the entire product. So I'm gonna start with something, I'll just scratch out something, and then I'm gonna get your feedback and then see how to drive forward the entire thing. So let's switch over here, and before we define the actual projects, I would like to scratch out some ideas that I'm having in my head. So the product's gonna be a social network, something like a Twitter, and I'm thinking to give it a name of friends. So I'm thinking to have some sort of social network like Twitter, similar to Twitter, where people can see. We are gonna have, let's say, a timeline where people can post stuff. Let's start with text initially. I'm not sure what are all the options that we can get there, but we can start with something simple. That's the idea. So we can post stuff there, and then we can see posts from friends, and then we will have some, let's say, friends section, or folks, let's say, where we can find people, and we can follow people, and then whoever we follow, we will be seeing their posts in the timeline, and we can see our own posts in the timeline as well. And then as we go, we might think of different things like, I don't know, likes, replies, things like that. But these are the basics that I want to come up with. So basically, and then we can think of, let's say, page where we can see our friends. And yeah, something like that. This is enough to start, I think. This is basically the scratch, and then I think we have to think about where to start. So basically, this entire thing seems fine to me, but because we're gonna have timeline and we're gonna have friends, this is something that has to be personalized. So in a way, we need to have some sort of accounting system. So basically, maybe the entire thing should be first to create an account, or maybe I'll name it just account, and the account will have, by account I mean being able to create an account and being able to log into the account. And then after we are logged in, we can see the timeline, and then we can, so basically first, maybe we can start working on creating an account and seeing the timeline. So I'm thinking about the thinnest slice of thing that we can develop and ship, and then start from there and start getting feedback and work towards getting more out of it. So let's actually go ahead and create a product. First, create a project. I'm thinking that first, this is gonna have, as I said, an Android client and a backend. And then for the Android client, I'm thinking to use some of the new technologies that are sort of popular recently, and then the idea is to actually learn more about them. I'm not sure how they work, so I want to learn more, and this is good opportunity to see how they work. So we're gonna use, let's say, let's maybe just name it Compose UI. We can use coroutines, and yeah, Jetpack stuff. And then for the backend, I think I'm just gonna spin up a Spring Boot app. I don't have much experience with the backend. I don't know everything and how everything's gonna go, but the backend's gonna be something that we can think about later. So it's not something we'll start right away with. First, let's go ahead and start with the Android client and start working on, let's say, on the timeline and creating accounts. And then once we have something like, let's say, an in-memory, then we can start working on the backend. So that being said, which seems cool to me, let's go ahead and create a project first. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a new project, and this is a wizard. I'm just gonna say let's use empty compose activity. So after we create the project, we are gonna start with like creating, setting up the continuous delivery, GitHub actions and all that. And like the idea is that whenever we merge something in the main branch, we push everything directly. Whenever we push something to the main branch, we want the new build to appear on the PlayStore. So I want to go through the entire setup, so I'm gonna present everything to you, so it will be easy for you to also do the same if you want to learn how you can publish apps on Google Play. So that's gonna be friends. I think that's a fair package. I like that. I'm gonna keep this into my project, Android friends. It's gonna be Kotlin. I think that the API, keeping it to mean of 24 is reasonable. It's gonna cover 73.7% of the devices that are currently using Google, currently on Google Play, which is great. The idea is not to really support as many devices as possible, but to see how this process goes, so to learn together. Okay, the project is being created. I'm quickly gonna do, I really like to do this first. In my code style, I just wanna put this into 2, so it's gonna be easier for like that. I like this formatting. So here is a preview that we are gonna see from this composable, which is like the initial UI that the project was created with. But that's not something that is interesting for us just yet. We are not gonna write a single line of code before we actually make the entire continuous delivery. We have to set up that first and only then start working on the project. Otherwise, it doesn't make much sense to start right away coding. Whatever this is basically, I think, that it created, this is the basic theme stuff. This is the first screen of the application. And then these are the UI tests, and this is, I guess, a unit test. And I guess this one uses, it uses JUnit 4. We are gonna change that to JUnit 5 later on. But just for now, let's run to see how, to see if everything is sort of set. Next, let's go ahead and create a repository to host this project. So this is my GitHub account, and I'll go into the repositories, and then I'm gonna create new one, and I'll name it friends. Description will be the friends Android client, or the Android client of the friends app. It's gonna be public, so basically you can also see and even contribute if you want later on. Why not? Let's add a README file. Choose a license. Add ignore. Why not? Or no, maybe not, because it's gonna add a template. I want to do that myself. And this is gonna be, I don't know, Apache. Why not? Let's create this repository. Cool. So I'm just gonna copy this, and then we can go back to my terminal, and then we can go to the projects, Android friends. Then I'm gonna just initialize here a Git repository, and I will add a remote. So it should be git remote add origin, then this, and then I think I can open lazy git, and then this is local branch. I don't like the let's check out the main, and then I'll just have it as main, and that's my local branch. And yeah, let's see what we got now. Okay, we have a gitignore. I think it's easier to manipulate the gitignore here inside the studio directly, so I'm just gonna open this one. I mean, initially it's cool, but I'm just gonna put I'm gonna edit this one and make it a bit like this. So let's see what we got. We are gonna ignore the entire build, all these APK and outputs that are coming, the local properties, the idea folder, which is kind of important because it's gonna continue. This is in case we want to use the project in on a Mac OS. Not sure if that's gonna happen, but maybe somebody from the contributor is gonna do that. Why not? So yeah, I think that's fine. Now I'll go back to my terminal, and let's see what we got. So we have the gitignore. This is the build Gradle. Probably we're gonna take a look at that later. The ProGuard. Yeah, basically I think everything here is sort of okay, sort of relevant. Cool. And so let's commit this one. as initial project setup. So now oops, so let's see if I can push this. Yeah, cool. So now we have, I'll go back to my repository and see where we are. That's now it's time to set up the actions. So here I think I can search for, I don't see Android here. Oh yeah, here it is. So I think I'm gonna put two flows. One would be to run my tests on every pull request, and then another would be to make deployment. So to push everything on PlayStore. So let's name this one run tests. Run tests. So on push, I don't think on push to main, or well, let's maybe I'm gonna edit that later. So basically what this says is that whenever something is merged into main, or whenever there is a pull request towards main. So let's see, it's gonna run on Ubuntu latest. So instead of build, I'm gonna say test debug. I think that's the right command. Run micro tests. I'm gonna name this step. And then let's see, create an action to run my tests. Run micro tests, and then description, whatever, just commit this. Cool. Now I think I can get that if I fast forward my branch exactly, and now in my project here, I think I can find it. Yeah, run tests. So here it is, which is great. And I think here in the actions it would run them. Yeah, so it sort of runs as a first, because there was a commit in the main branch, so it would run them. But yeah, so I think now we have the project created, initial setup of the project, and we can next we have to create another action to actually ship this to PlayStore. So to establish that relation between. Okay, now we have a this doesn't work. Have to figure out why. Okay, there is something with. Okay, I see. Yeah, there is something with the Java versions. Okay, the plugin says that it requires Java 11, but we are using Java 1.8. That's something that you can solve. However, I think that's part of the scripts here, and the script. Okay, this is the plugin, and it seems like this plugin is this build plugin doesn't really work. But yeah, that's something to figure out. But I think we are running around 20 minutes already. I don't want to to keep the episodes too long. But basically also for the next episode, we'll have to set up an action that will be delivering the application to Play Store. And for that, I'll have to here in the settings set up some secrets, which are basically the signatures for the entire for the app. And I think I'll do that because there are some sort of secrets that I don't want to expose on the cast. I'll set that. I'll set up that one offline, and for the next episode it's gonna be ready. But just to show how that's done, basically here in the secrets, what you can do is new repository secret, and here is, for example, the name that you prefer. Let's say key store password. Let's say something like that, and then here will be the value, and then you add that as a secret. And then we are gonna see in the following episode where we'll be setting up the flow that will be shipping to Play Store. We'll see how we can use this. And for now, I'll just remove this one because it was a nonsense. But yeah, you saw how this is actually done. So I think that's gonna be enough for this one. And yeah, this is just starting. I really like to see what you think about this idea of like getting this into somewhere. Would be nice to see what you think about the product, and if you have some specific like feedback on the initial scratch of the product. Let's see what you think. This has to be something collaborative, so I am expecting some feedback from you. Thanks for the time and for the attention. I'm gonna catch you in the next episode. Cheers!